Ruins, wrecks, ramshackle sheds and crumbling castles. Ireland is alive with structures that are bursting with potential.
Gosh, my goodness.
Our old buildings proclaim our histories and give our modern world character.
Look at that chimney.
Somebody referred to him as giddy.
I'd nearly say drunk.
In an era in which we are short of housing solutions, I want us to make the most of this abundant resource.
I love it.
But I know from experience that restoration is no easy task.
3 rooms at the back filled out and 2 rooms up front.
So stressful.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Hello.
I'll be following 6 brave, devoted, or perhaps foolhardy souls who've taken on the challenge of bringing an old building back to life and asking whether some buildings are simply too far gone to save.
I actually don't know why they're continuing with the chandelier. We've run out of time, and this is when accidents happen. Stop. You know what I mean? No.
Today I'm in County Westmeath to visit one of the biggest restoration projects I've seen. Hidden away up a kilometre-long drive is Middleton Park House, a Grade 2 listed estate house built in 1850 by celebrated architect George Papworth. It all looks and sounds very grand, but it's been through a series of owners over the last 50 years, and I wonder what challenges it holds. What interests me most here, though, is the unusual approach of the latest homeowners towards their living arrangements.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Very
Yourself?
nice to meet you. Well, how are you? Very nice to meet you.
You, Michael, pleased to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Well, my goodness. The sheer scale of this.
Dental hygienist Carly MacDonald and her husband, lecturer Michael, are clubbing together to buy this vast edifice with her brother, Henry King, a builder.
I think everybody who walks in gets the same.
The height.
Even with a house this size, I'm interested to see how communal living and communal restoration will work out.
What size is it?
37,000 square feet.
It's a monster.
It is a monster.
You know, when we first looked, it was just a flight of fancy. But the more we started bouncing around, the more it seemed like not such a crazy idea, and it means such a beautiful old home.
Carly and Michael first viewed Middleton Park House way back in 1999, but they missed the chance to bid, and it was repurposed as a hotel.
I've been in love with the space since I first saw it.
And what was
Why
weird,
do you like it?
Because I'm obviously deluded and love the idea of living in the big house and walking down those stairs saying,
I can
"Hi."
see it. I can see it now. Just in relation to the building, you bought the building for how much?
900,000.
And how much are you going to spend on it?
we decided that we'd have the same, approximately the same sum as the
So
purchase price.
900,000.
Yes.
900,000 on 37,000 square feet it's like a drop in the ocean.
But alongside the palatial dimensions and the grandeur of the staircase, what strikes me more than anything here is the code. It's January, and it's definitely colder inside than out.
You've got lots of mould and damp.
What's curious is that it was open and full of bookings. It seems to have just collapsed into disrepair. It isn't long.
No,
This
it
isn't long
deteriorates
for
so quickly.
It's only 3 years since Middleton Park was in use as a luxury hotel. But with no heating and no patching up leaks, old buildings can become derelict at an alarming rate.
You've got condensation, but it's actually on the outside. So this house is colder than outside.
Yeah.
So that'll be a real challenge.
Oh, well, I mean, when Carly walked in and she loves the, I suppose the grandeur of the scale, but all I could think, how do we eat and light this place? And if we don't crack that nut, then the project's a failure.
At €900,000, this huge building costs less than the price of 2 Dublin 3-bed semi-Ds, but it's the size of 35 of them. So unless they can come up with a clever solution, the cost of keeping it sufficiently heated may be beyond their means. Henry has already started to look into solutions.
So I'm going to be looking at the geothermal possibilities. I've made that my pet project.
At the end of the day, you have to make it functioning.
Yes.
With heating bills back in the hotel days said to have come in at $65,000 a year, the success of Henry's hunt for heat solutions will be the key to making this project viable. Carly now takes on the tour baton. Beyond the cantilevered staircase, there are 12 rooms around the landing.
I love coming up here and just standing here and looking down.
Isn't it just amazing?
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm going to say. It reminds me of sort of a lady in a fur coat and no knickers.
Well, I have the fur coat, but I've rather nice lingerie, so hey ho. This room was the one that kind of gave me a bit of a shock. This room really does depress me now, I have to say. Because I walked in, there was water streaming down, wallpaper just falling off the wall, the floor covered in plaster work. And it was the one time where I did think, oh my God, am I mad?
Right.
Because I couldn't believe this could happen in such a short space of time. This was a hotel. This was a functioning bathroom.
This sudden bathroom reveals that water is getting into the building at quite a rate. And in the 12-bedroom hotel wing, the extent of work to be done is astounding.
Okay, Hugh, so along here now, I think this was run as the main part of the hotel. Might be a source of income for us.
Right.
Another big makeover.
More work.
More work.
Michael is focusing on the roof. The previous owners spent a great deal on fixing leaks, but it's still the source of many of the problems here. You can see the signs of serious water ingress throughout this building.
I'm an engineer by training, so I'm kind of interested in solving problems. So perhaps naively, I'm looking at things like leaking roofs and thinking that would be a really interesting thing to work out. Now, you know, maybe that's naive because it might swallow us whole.
What's the timeline for the work here?
By the end of this year, we hope to be living here and that this would be a nice, comfortable home.
Christmas tree up.
Massive Christmas tree, yeah.
The idea of turning this house around in a year would be enough to put me off. But Carly wins me over with the building's finest feature yet, the cast iron glass house.
Always get a great feeling when I walk in here.
Oh,
It's just so bright and yeah. Well, an added kind of bonus was when I found out it's a Turner Conservatory, who is the most famous.
So he did the Botanic Gardens in Dublin and Kew Gardens over in
indeed.
London.
There are less than 10 glass houses designed by acclaimed Irish iron founder Richard Turner left in the country. So this is a special treasure.
Nice to be able to say I'm one of them.
You've got green fingers.
Well, I like to think I do. I used to have a flower shop in Sandymount years ago, so I have a knowledge.
And I've got a very formal garden. What's your vision for it then?
I hope to create a rose garden there. My mother's memorial kind of anniversary coming up, and I've ordered some Monica rose bushes, that was her name, so start the rose garden with her.
That's wonderful,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, a bit sad actually thinking like that, but anyway, because she would have just absolutely adored this. She really did have green fingers.
Before I leave, I want to talk about the roof again. It should be a source of concern, given how fast this house has deteriorated, from a luxury hotel to a sad, sodden mess within 3 years.
It's fairly in a poor state.
Our first feeding, my feeding from being up moving around, and then obviously the roofer confirmed this, that he feels that there's no need for the major job. So it's kind of like, whew.
I hope Henry's right. The roof and the search for a heating solution are industrial-scale problems on a project with a domestic budget. Their budget sounds extensive, but until you strip back the walls and expose what's going on, you just don't know. This building has defeated many people before them, and I don't want this dynamic trio
to be its next victims.
Michael, Carly and Henry do not plan any structural changes to Middleton Park House. For now, they will leave the extensive basement untouched. On the ground floor, the grand hallway will require repairs to the ceiling and roof. A new kitchen will be installed just off the hallway, with a snug and a snooker room beyond. The hotel's function room will become a ballroom, with a utility room alongside. The 3 reception rooms will become a dining room, a library and a drawing room. The Turner Glasshouse will be restored and replanted. On the first floor, off the entrance hall, Michael and Carly's rooms will be to the back, and Henry and his children's rooms at the front. They hope to let out the hotel bedroom wing and eventually use the stables as artist or yoga studios with bedrooms upstairs. It's February. Within weeks of buying Middleton Park House, Henry is camping out on site, and the 3 homeowners have started work already. To take the icy edge off the building, he's installing stoves into the main rooms.
The stove has been a big excitement from arriving today. We need to dry out the house, so we really need to get the stoves installed. We have lit fires, but you lose half the heat up the chimney.
Rebooting the heating system from its time as a hotel is not an option. The vast boilers would soon eat up the trio's entire restoration budget in gas costs. These cast iron lumps weigh up to 400 kilograms apiece. Henry will need to come up with a solution to get them into the building. There are no contractors on site, so he's keeping it in the family. He has roped in the help of his teenage son and friends who are staying for the weekend.
What is the way that?
It looks as if the stoves are going nowhere fast. Henry has come up with an idea. It's a question of divide and rule.
Carly, I think the thing is to dismantle it, take off the doors and top. Both of us are in agreement on this.
He's dismantling any removable parts and then attacking the issue with brute force.
So what did you take off then?
The stoves will help, but are nowhere near enough to heat the building, which needs to dry out fast. It's still unclear how Henry, Carly and Michael can heat this building without overstretching their finite budget.
With all the bits and pieces removed, they managed to get it in, and now it's in its permanent home. Just all has to be put back together again now. I'm really, really chuffed. I feel like the heart of the kitchen has arrived. Pot of coffee, nice little stew going. I'll be happy out and say it's mine.
To fund this project, Michael and Carly must sell their current home in Bray, County Wicklow. Leaving the sea for the landlocked Midlands is quite a tear.
We were living in Bray for the last nearly 20 years. I would be very, very attached, seeing as we're used to swimming in the sea now, every day. Just something magical about it.
We're just about ready to put the house on the market, and the proceeds of the sale of the house are going towards the purchase and refurbishment of Middleton. I would be lying if I said I hadn't lost a certain amount of sleep. What we're undertaking is a huge risk.
It's scary, because I don't know if we're going to like it then. We've never lived anywhere like that before. But it's a project.
Probably the 2 biggest challenges are the roof. The next thing then is how to be warm and comfortable.
I'm good at making the best of a situation. We're doing it, so I'm going to make it work.
Henry is also leaving his Dublin life to make the Middleton Park project happen.
I divorced 14 years ago, and I'd become quite staid, institutionalized in doing nothing. Taking on this venture is only because it's a dream for my sister. As long as we're all functioning as one unit, I think we're going to be a great partnership. So far, it's great. I've rediscovered a little bit of youthful exuberance, you know, delighted to jump out of the bed in the morning, and it's been a while since I felt that way about anything outside of my family, you know.
Henry's 4 kids are now in their teens and 20s.
They've all grown up. So I'm at a stage now, what would you call it? I'm a sort of an in-between stage. So this is a great distraction for me.
He hopes that the house will become a focal point for family and friends.
The plan is there's no plan. You know, the first rule of Fight Club, there's no Fight Club. You know, the first plan here is there's no plan. What I was always interested in doing here was creating lovely memories for people, whatever it is we do. We might have a recording studio, we might do a yoga studio, I don't know yet. I'm as interested to see, perhaps, as you are. You know, hopefully a lot of people come and enjoy it. You know, and I mean that genuinely. We're more about creating that than creating more pound notes for the sake of it.
When Middleton Park House was built in 1850, it was remarkable for its grandeur and, more importantly, its new technology. Aside from the Turner Glasshouse, which would have been considered the hottest of properties of the time, Middleton Park House utilised a then groundbreaking heating system, which was cunningly hidden away under the stairs.
For all of its classical styling, this house is about modernity. It's about the technical advances which were being made at the time that this house was built. This is part of the original heating system of this house. So the heat came in at the lower level, was warmed up by the pipes and then blown out. What I love is the fact that you have the bleeding valve. You know the way you bleed the radiators? And there it is on this pipework. So the air was drawn in here and came out through these holes. But also the whole structure would have become like a big radiator itself. But the wonders don't stop inside the house. Hidden away down a leafy lane is an interesting ruin. I'm standing in front of the remnants of the old gas house. Amazingly, this house had its own town gas production facility, and the gas was pumped from here to the house 170 years ago. The challenge for Carly, Henry and Michael is to emulate what the predecessors of this house did, to make this building into a home of the future. It's May. Henry and Michael have organised a drill. For a geothermal heating system to work, they require a regular flow of water and the right rock conditions to source ground heat. But every attempt at drilling costs €5,000, and 6 separate viable holes will be needed.
The geothermal system, the idea is that it will give constant heat and will keep the house healthy. But it's obviously a very heavy, major financial commitment. It's going to probably consume a quarter of the budget for the house at least. Imagine burying €60,000 in the ground, literally, by drilling boreholes. The first stage then is to drill a test well to see whether the ground is suitable.
The drilling begins. Michael and Henry watch on tenterhooks. If the rock is too solid, the drill won't get through, and if it's not solid enough, it will crumble. Within 10 minutes, there's bad news.
We've run into problems now with this geothermal. It's not the best ground. Geothermal is the preferred option with these large houses.
Yeah.
What is your opinion?
Ground isn't suitable for ground loop anyway.
Yeah.
From 40 metres down to 60 roughly, there's fractures in the rock and it's collapsing.
Does that mean the hole is right?
Well, it's not right off, you use it as well.
Okay, but for geothermal,
For geothermal,
it's not usable.
yeah.
What we thought was going to be the best heating solution for us was this geothermal system. That failed at the first attempt, which nobody really expected. You can do all the surveys that you like, but you just don't know what's in the ground until you drill a hole, really.
It's a big disappointment, especially after spending thousands on drilling so far. They're still camping out in the house in the cold and will need to find an alternative heating method which doesn't break the bank.
So we've a lot to think about now.
And it's a decision time.
I went running out thinking someone had been hurt, and then I saw the ceiling.
We're under serious time pressure now.
We've run out of time, and this is when accidents happen.
Baby, can't you see?